Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Good morning. So, let us move to the next topic of discussion. This is lecture 8. We will be looking more focused towards translating customer needs. When you develop any product, the first thing what we have to do is we have to understand whether there is a customer need for it. See, today's world, there are two types of product evolution happen. One is called as technology push, the another one is called as market pull. Technology push is something like your mobile phone. 25 years back when I was in college, so I never ever thought of something like a mobile phone. So, there was no need for it. I used to stand in front of PCOs wherein which we used to register our names in the ledger, and then we used to wait for our turn, and that time there was a scheme which was run by the government that from 9:30 to 11 o'clock if you call an STD you will have to pay 50% of the normal price, and then after 11 it became quarter. So, we used to stand in big queues and then we used to register. Even at that point of time we did not realize that there is something called a mobile phone can come into existence. The technology got developed, and then what happened? Slowly the mobile phones were pushed into the market, or I will say touch screen in mobile phone. It was not what customer wanted, but over a period of time when the technology got very well matured, when it became economical, reliable, so then it started getting into the market, people started accepting it. But today we buy a phone only with a touch screen. Okay. When it was started, it was technology push. Technology got developed, so companies pushed into the market so that the customer will accept the product. And the other thing is, there is a need from the customer point of view that they wanted something from the industry. So, we have to understand what they want and then start developing it. Okay. So, that is market pull. Okay. Market is trying to put the problem statement and they are asking people to develop products wherein which the market is ready to give money. So, that is called as market pull. Okay. So, we are going to talk about more of market pull, or we are trying to understand what customer wants and then converting into an engineering specification, and from that specification we try to look into how to produce, what to produce, and then meet out the customer satisfaction. And when I talk about customer needs, it is like talking to a child. The child sometimes might spell out what he really wants, and sometimes he might not even spell out. For example, when my son comes back from the school, by looking at his face, I try to see what is his mood, and even without telling him that he is disturbed, I post questions such a way such that he does not realize that he is frustrated, but tells out these are the points. So, there are some things which customer might openly say, the customer might not say, but understanding the customer voice is the biggest challenge in the entire product development. And if we make a flaw here, then this cannot get into a very successful product. So, please give lot of importance to understand the customer need, and after understanding customer need, you are supposed to translate the customer need into engineering specification such that you can start producing. First understand customer needs and then translate custom needs into engineering specification. If you are able to do this, you have almost solved the problem of product development. First one, in this lecture we will try to cover describing voice of customer. We will try to see a tool which is used more commonly in the industry. It is quality function deployment. This tool was first developed in Japan, and then Toyota was a company which started using it. Then American companies slowly started understanding the concept and started implementing. The auto giants, Ford, Daimler Chrysler, all these people, GM, they started using QFD, and later all the electronics industry started using this QFD and enjoying the tool, and they brought lot of customer satisfaction. So QFD is one powerful tool which is used. Then house of quality, then product design specifications. So what is voice of customer? The focal conviction of the item improvement process is that items ought to reflect the customer's need and taste. A standout amongst the most critical part of the product development cycle at this point is to comprehend and gain from the customer. You have to keep asking him questions. Please do understand, you have to first choose the right audience or the right customers, and second thing, you have to ask questions such that the answers don't come out consciously, but it has to come out subconsciously, and your interviewing process should be so smooth and so conducive that you understand what customer wants. And by and large, people pick up 3 customers and try solving a problem. I do take design courses at IIT Kanpur. When I do this exercise of understanding the voice, which is very difficult, so I ask the students to first form a group. In the class of 20 or 30, I divide them into 4 or 5 groups. Ask them to form small groups, and then what do I do? It moment they form a small group, they always go and form groups in such a way they like that person and go there and land up with him. Then I ask them to do this exercise. Amongst that group, please try to understand what everybody wants and come out with one product which everybody in the group likes that product. Then what do? I disturb that group and I ask the students to get shifted to some other group. So I jumble the group class once again, and again I do the same exercise. Now you will see the students formed groups are different, and when they form into different groups, different products come out, but the students are the same. And here the bandwidth of the students is same and the age group is also the same. So if you see that, it will be pretty interesting. People who are in different groups will come out with contradicting products. Sometimes all of them will come up with almost a similar product. Okay, so voice of customer is very important. So that is what we said. So the reasons that customer will purchase an items are the products perform well. That's how I go and buy. For example, I go and buy a shirt. So I always look at, I want to buy a shirt which when I wear it in front of a elite community, I should stand out and people should look at me from wherever they are. Second thing is, I would like that shirt to be wrinkle free. Third thing, I would like the shirt to absorb sweat. When I get out of the AC room, walk in a corridor, I should not feel sweat, and so I expect that. And next thing is, I would like to wear the shirt not for a very long time. That means to say, I am not interested to buy a shirt which can withstand for 10 years. It's okay with me if the shirt could come for 5 years, but within that 5 years or 2 years, whatever time period, it should perform its best. The product should perform well. But if my father would have bought the same shirt, he would have looked for the shirt has to have a longevity more, and he would have compromised on standing out in front of a community. So you see the difference, father, son, generation gap. The product performs well. Well is a thing which is again qualitative. Okay. Next, have highlights that they look for, which I said, wherever you are, the color should be lustrous, color should be there, such that wherever I am in a group, whoever is there should like to see me. And then are solid, tough and sluttered. Then it should be simple to utilize. See, I don't know if you have learnt it, because by over a period of time we have quickly learned the skill of wearing the button on a shirt. Suppose let us assume that we don't have one hand, okay, one hand, and we still have to place the buttons or wear the shirt by using these buttons. So now you will see the utilization of the second hand. And when you are a kid, the biggest challenge which we teach to a kid is, please try to wear a shirt and make sure that you don't miss out holes, okay. But if you would have come to a level of simple to utilize, as though you keep a velcro below and then just stick it, it would have been easy. So today shirts are coming in that way, okay. So simple to utilize is something which is very, very important, and as and when you age, again wearing a shirt becomes a biggest challenge. That's why you see very senior citizens would love to wear a t-shirt or a kurta wherein which there is very less buttons, because their orientation miss out. So even in the shirt there is lot of challenge. Even while asking a customer, you should realize his age and then simple to utilize, then agreeable to utilize, okay, tasteful, satisfying, and then well known to them. That's the last thing. So if I introduce a new company and say, here is a shirt which is 20 rupees, please buy this shirt has all these things, but if the brand is not known to me, I will still think twice to buy that shirt. So these are the reasons why customer will go ahead and buy a product. So in watching customers purchasing conduct, it has been discovered that their choices about the items depend on properties that can be masterminded into 8 classification as follows. See, many a times what we do is we use clustering algorithm. So clustering algorithm is nothing but you have something in y-axis, something in x-axis, you plot points. Okay. What are these points? These points are data points which you have collected from different customers. Now what have you done is you have put all the points there, and when you put all the points, you can see there are some clusters getting formed. So there might be some data points outside the cluster also. So the challenge is how much you capture and then form a cluster. When you do a clustering, you might miss out something, watch out for that also. So here when we say masterminded into 8 classification is these 8 are clusters. It does not mean you have covered all the points. You can keep expanding your cluster and keep doing it, but there might be a dilution in your focus. So that is what you should realize. The 8 classifications are thumb rules. There can be certain things which don't even fall in that. Those times you have to use your prudence to get the customer's voice. First, cost. Can I bear the cost of it? Please understand, today a mobile phone costs 1000 rupees or 2000 rupees. A smartphone, a very low quality smartphone which is reliable, costs around about 6,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees. Example, okay, 5,000 rupees. My servant maid who works with me and she is earning monthly, working in my house and another house and 3 houses, she earns something around about 8,000 rupees. 8,000 rupees. She had to run her family with that 8,000. She does not mind to buy a smartphone today. Why? Because her family is at home, she wants to get connected. She is working at 2-3 houses, she wants to tell them that a status update, I will be delayed, I will not come, or I am free, can I come? So for all these asking, she feels her time is more precious than the money. So the cost for even a person who is earning 8,000 and 10,000, they don't mind buying a phone of 3,000 or 4,000, which is 50%. So cost depends on the product and the useful utility of the product, right? So cost is something which is, and in the same way I get a salary of approximately a lakh, again an example, and I sometimes when I go to the market, I see pens for writing, blue color pens for writing, I get 10 rupees, a dozen is 100 rupees. But what I want is only one pen. If the company says, please buy all the 10 pens, I give you at 80 rupees, I will still calculate and see why should I invest in this 80 rupees, wherein which I can go for a pen which is 60 rupees, buy one pen, because I am mindful of having a lot size in my house, having an inventory in my house. So cost is something very important. What we do is, can I bear the cost is one, but what is the utility of the cost I get? So both questions are answered by the cost. The cost of the item can be utilized to pick up an upper hand. Generally, people always look for cost. When I want to buy a house in Delhi or in Lucknow or in Chennai, the minimum cost, a decent house in a decent area, minimum cost is around about 1 crore. So naturally, I look at my pocket and see whether I can buy that. Okay, so that is what is talked about here. And I have also told interesting thing, cost upper hand, but cost can, when you equate the cost with, is proportional to the utility. Okay. Next is availability. Can I discover it? An item ought to be accessible when and where the potential customer needs it. Availability is something, for example, very close to a school. You are supposed to have an ice cream shop, or if I put an ice cream shop, or if I put a stationery shop, I am going to succeed in the business, because the people will always look for availability. And the second thing is, when you are developing products, you should also think of availability of resources within your close premises. So availability is the next thing, which is voice of the customer. Third thing is packaging. Does it look appealing? Okay. Packaging is a thing that the customer sees and makes it impact the purchaser's determination. Packaging is very, very important. See, some point of time, people said, let the mouse not be transparent, which is used in a computer. Today, people say that let the mouse cover be transparent, I would like to see what is inside. Look at it, how the packaging made a big difference. So nowadays you get a transparent mouse, wherein which you can see what are all the internal parts, and people love to buy those things. So the only packaging made a big impact in the market. The next one is performance. I am not ranking it, so the ranking can change. I am just putting the 8 classifications. Performance. Can it do when I need it to do? For example, many a times we buy products, these products work perfectly very well, but exactly during the critical times these products conk off. For example, the umbrella works perfectly very well in summer, but on a rainy day and when there is wind, my umbrella fails. So the utility or the performance of this umbrella is not so great. So people will definitely look for, when it is raining, I will go for a raincoat which I don't have to bother about any mechanism. Okay. So execution should specifically fulfill the customer most vital necessity. Umbrella, it has to protect me from rain, or many a times it will be interesting, if it is windy and rainy, you take an umbrella, you just protect only your head, rest of your body is wet. So the performance of the product is not so great. Usability. Apple developed a product called Newton, which is a very wonderful product, right? But the product failed miserably, or it did not perform as expected by Apple company. Apple company is one of the biggest players, and they understand customers' voice very well. But for them also, they made a small slip. The slip was, they had too much of technology ahead of time. People were not able to use all their utility which was offered by the product. For example, the product demanded 3G, 4G, when not even 1G or 2G was so stable. Second thing, it had a version of correcting spellings and other things, but that was a time when people were not able to override and understand what the technology is trying to tell them back to them. So usability is very, very important. I have a burner, gas stove burner in my house. It has 4 burners and it has 4 knobs, right? And when I stand here and then start using it, I tried to, if I want to use this 2 burners which is at the back side, it is very difficult. I have to make sure and plan these 2 fellows do not radiate so much of heat such that I can go access this fellow. And when I have 4 knobs, it is very difficult that I should, my mind and hand should coordinate and understand which knob stands for what. And many a times we think as though we have switched off, we would have left the vessel hot there and we would have left the place and we would have switched off some other knob. Okay. So, here usability becomes a major challenge. Okay. Usability, but here if you ask me to have so much of eye coordination, hand coordination, it is difficult. When in the morning time, when there is a crisis at the house, when kids are going, wife is going, I am going, this 2 minutes job makes the life more difficult to do it. So, usability, do I know how to utilize it? This 4 is very good. If I would have 5th burner, I will cook within 10 minutes, but coordination becomes a challenge here. So, usability is the next thing. Then affirmation, will it last, which talks about sturdiness, unvarying quality and support which impact many customers' decision. There are products which work very good in the first year and slowly it gets worn out very fast, right. So, you look at today's success in the electronic industry and look at success in the service industry. For example, you buy an online ticket and then if you have a problem, you can quickly call a toll free number and then you also have an online chat wherein which you can do. So, what is that? Their quality at every point of time when you are in trouble, today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow is perfect, is reliable, is repeatable. Okay, that is what it is, which will it last. For example, my father has bought an umbrella which does not have a button. So, he over a period of time learned the skill of using that umbrella and he does it very perfectly. When my son uses the same, he is finding it very difficult. So, he abuses it so much and over a period of time, very short time, it starts malfunctioning. For example, today shoes, student when they buy shoes, earlier days we used to talk about a concept of shoe horn. Today the concept of shoe horn is gone. People of polishing the shoe is gone because people look for dust free shoe. People look for shoe which is flexible, which as and when you put a pressure on it, it yields and your leg can go inside, but it is also expected to last more. Affirmation, life cycle cost. Will it be exclusively expensive when making it impossible to keep us? An item whose aggregate cost of upkeeping, repairs, vitality, utility, supplies and downtime is immensely not as much as comparable item may have to be focused edge. So, what we are trying to say is life cycle cost, will it be excessively expensive? So, for example, I keep a old Fiat car, okay. Old Fiat car, when I was born, that was the state of the art. If I still feel a legacy and start keeping the car, today I do not get spares today and it is no way fuel economical. And the third thing is I do not get a driver to drive this vehicle because it does not have a power steering. Now, if I have to do it, the life cycle cost is very expensive. The last one is social benchmark. What do, say for example, when I bought a car, I was looking for a car which is white in color, and that point of time there were only few players in the market who used to produce yellow color car, orange color car, and not many people used to take, and whoever picked those cars were looked as odd men out. Today society has grown up, society has accepted orange and yellow and apple green as also colors, and today you see products coming in that. So, social benchmarking is also very important in the community wherever you are. Do the people accept you buying this product? So, what do the others consider on it? So, whenever you buy a product, please do understand people always look at owner's pride. I hold this, and if people say, hey, he is holding this product. So, it can, by looking at the product, people try to evaluate your social or economical status. That is what it is, right. So, the voice of the customer, there are 4 levels of customer requirements, which are this leads to Kano model. So, expectors, spoken, unspoken, and you will have exciters. Okay. So, when we talk about 4 levels of customer requirement, expectors, these are the fundamental qualities one must offer to be focused and to stay in business. For example, I am offering you a pen. If this pen has to sustain in the market, I should make sure that the pen writes smoothly. That is the basic requirement. If I am operating a school, the basic requirement of a school from kindergarten to 5th standard is how disciplined is the school, what amount of value addition, value education they do to the child, what amount of learning process they teach. It is not that in the 0 to 10 years you teach more, you teach less, but allow the children to enjoy and learn more. Okay. So, these are the expectors, or these are fundamental qualities one must offer to be focused and to stay in business, right. For example, I have a car, I expect the car to start at any point of time, even in cold winter days, in heavy rainy days it is starting. There are qualities that customer accept and are a piece of the item or administration, that is, they expect them as standard qualities. When I buy a car, I make sure that there are no sharp edges, and or I expect that there should be no sharp edges in the car so that it hurts anybody. Expectors are traits that are every now and again simple to quantify, and in this manner are utilized as part of the benchmarking. These are expectors. Certain things are spoken. This is what I said. When my son comes back, he speaks, he does not speak. If he is in a good mood, he comes and jumps and says, "Oh, today in school we had a puppet show and the cartoon came like this." So, it is spoken. So, there are particular entities customers say they need in an item. When you go to a class, you say, "I expect the class to be disciplined," or "I expect pin drop silence in the class." It is spoken by the teacher, and he says, "I am a strict teacher." His action speaks. It is spoken. Okay. There are things an organization must will to give as they speak to the part of the item that characterize it for a customer. So, this is spoken. You have unspoken. These are item attributes that customer don't discuss. For example, I go to a hotel and I expect the receptionist to be smiling, and I get my job of registering a room within 1 minute. So, I expect, but I don't spell it out, right. So, many a times your unspoken becomes very important. That is a time an expert understands from indirect questions what are the unspoken things which a customer expects. It is the product development group's business to find out what they are. For example, a shoe does not need polish. Unspoken. People say, "I need a shoe which looks very elegant when I go to everything, and the same shoe I go here, I go there. It should be unique. It should be a unique shoe." All these things people say, but they also assume that the shoe should be wearable very easy. The shoe should not stink, right? So the product development group should make utilization of the market study, customer meetings, and conceptualization for understanding it. Unspoken or overlooked reaction that for the most part can be categorized as one of the 3: did not make sure to let you know, would not like to let you know, did not realize what it was. Okay. And the exciters are, these are sudden attributes of an item that makes it one of a kind and recognize it from the opposite. An exciter is additional added to as a delighter. For example, on a birthday, I just walk into my house, I see a cake there and I see all my friends there. So it is wow. I expected in my house my wife will be there. I expected they would have made some sweet. But I did not expect my family inviting so many friends of mine and having a cake at the entrance when I come back tired from the office. That's a wow. Right? You go to a hotel and moment you enter into the room, there is somebody who comes and does a massage for you. It is wow. You did not expect, but they do it free of cost. Wow. They give you a lot of eatables in a hotel without charge. Wow. You go to a breakfast buffet and you see South Indian, North Indian, international, national, fruits, juice, ice cream, everything in the morning in front of you. It is wow. Right? Because the company always says we will give you a free breakfast, but it does not say what is there in the menu. Some companies say, some companies don't say. Moment you go there, you see a surprise. That is wow. Okay. And I go to a hotel, and in the hotel as soon as I enter, I see all the bearers, ladies. Wow. Okay. That is exciter. Fine. In the event that they are absent, at that point the customer would not be disappointed, since they will be ignorant of what is absent. For example, in the same hotel when I entered, if all are men and very neatly dressed, I would have not even thought of the wow factor. That is what I am trying to say, exciter. So this is what is Carnot's model. Let us try to draw a Carnot's model. So this is where a customer is satisfied. Okay. This is where is a customer not satisfied, customer disappointed, and this is where is a feature executed well. Okay. This is where is a feature executed badly. Okay. So when you go to the market and ask about a product, so people would always like to have this, and this is called as wanted. I try to go do a railway ticket booking. So in initial days, I used to go stand in a big queue. It used to take 5 hours for me to book a ticket. Now the number of queues have improved, that has improved, this has improved, number of vending points have improved. So I get it done within 1 hour. Today it has completely become online. I get the entire ticket booked within 5 minutes. So this is what people wanted today. So if I can book the ticket in 5 minutes, I am happy, and the features executed very well in the entire process. Okay. So the other thing is this. So what is this? This is expected. People's expectation from a product. So when the people keep on these are the expectations of a people which keeps going, and when we move here, we see features are getting executed very well here. Okay, these are expected, people's expectation from the product, right? For example, 5 minutes, good. Okay, then the other thing is called as something like this is called as exciters or the wow effects. Isn't it nice? When you tell itself, you feel happy, right? Wow effect. These are something called as exciters. If when I book the ticket, after booking the ticket within 5 minutes, suppose it gives me a discount of 10% on the ticket fare. Wow. I book something online and they say, here is a free offer for you since you booked. Wow. What is that? The customer is made more happy, more satisfied. Okay. As and when the time keeps going, during the product evaluation itself, the things from exciter move towards expected. That means to say, suppose if you go to a hotel and in the hotel initially you thought it should be a clean room, it should be a neat room, it should have some calling facilities here and there within the hotel, and then the bathroom should be clean and bathroom should have all the toiletry kits. That's what was your expectation. But later, maybe 3-4 years back, they started giving Wi-Fi. So whoever gave a Wi-Fi, it was a wow effect. Today what has happened, it has come to such a level that it has become a basic expectation. When you go to a hotel, you expect that a free Wi-Fi is given to you. So what I am trying to say you is, the wow effect can also become a minimum expected effect or minimum expected requirements for a product. So this is what is Kano's model. The Kano's model is exhaustively used in identifying what does a customer want and how is it. So, and I have also told you there are certain things spoken, there are unspoken. So expected are unspoken. Okay, these are unspoken demands or requirements of the customer. So this is a Kano's model. Kano's model was developed by a Japanese professor. It is very efficient. If you use this tool very efficiently, then you will see the customer's voice is grabbed and you just bring it to it such that you can convert the customer's voice into a requirement. So the other way of doing it is recording the voice of the customer. You go around, ask them to speak about a product, then they speak about the product, please record it. Why is that recording very important? Because when you start replaying and playing, the sectioning the voice of the customer many times, many of the unspoken things which are hidden behind could be clearly understood. There are few the strategies that can be utilized to acquire customer inclination about the product. Which strategy is realized upon the sum and sort of data required, its accessibility and the time, and cost designated to gather the information. These are the strategies which a company chooses, and then it broadly falls into two categories. One is existing information, the other one is new information, what you get by doing this recording. Existing information can be got. So this is all understanding the voice of the customer. Suppose you decide that you wanted to know about the product but you don't have more of customers, so you look at existing information. If you want to talk to people and then generate something, that is called as new information. Existing information can be obtained by company sales records, including repairs, replacement of the parts of some other company or of your own company, complaints both written and verbal, then warranty data, publication from the government and trade journals and the consumers, the company's designer, engineer and manager, and benchmark products. These are places where you get the customer's voice from which are from the existing information. The new information, you can do a survey, you can do interview, face to face, telephonic, you can call a focus group of people. Like doing this every day in the TV, we always have experts sitting on a dais and they keep arguing about a particular point or particular agenda what they take. They section it completely and then they look, and this focus group gives their views. Please do understand, these focus groups can also give you a biased opinion. For example, if you put 4 of the faculty members of one particular stream and ask them, is this stream useful? Then all the 4 will say, yes, it is useful, and they keep giving umpty number of reasons justifying that this stream is valid. But when you ask what is the utility of it, then you have to have a mixed group wherein which they talk about it. So focus group has advantage, disadvantage. Please handle it. It is like a knife edge or like a fire. Please handle it properly. Observation using clinics and displays. You go around, you send 20 people around, your company goes 10 days to different places, talks to people, identify. Then field contract, you using sales meeting, service calls, etc. Then that's why you see all the service calls are getting recorded, because that will try to understand the voice of the customer. Then today what is happening, these the service calls, whatever you get is getting recorded, and then the companies try to sell this recorded information to others because they make money out of it. The other company who wants to make a product looks for these records. Okay. So, that is what is service calls, and direct visit to the user is the other thing. So, these are the ways you generate new information, these are the ways you generate existing information, then all these things are used in developing a product. So, analyzing the voice of the customer. In the awake of having recorded the voice of the customer, the product development group takes their reaction, at times called verbatism, and thinks of them on singular cards. So, what they do is they write the adjectives, right, adjective words, and then what they do is they start analyzing around the adjective words. For example, if they say, I need a pen which is very good. So, now that good term becomes little difficult. So, now what they do is they look at the objective, they put a mapping word, then try to understand, section it, then they try to get it. These reactions are scrubbed, which is the procedure of altering the verbatism, dispensing those verbatism from different interviews that mean a similar one. For example, I need a good product, I need a better product, I need a product which can perform well. So, now you see that all these things are qualitative. So, you have to somehow try to convert this qualitative into quantitative. If 6 of them told all qualitative, then have a discarded one, try to take 1 or 2 and then start working on it. Composing more cards for those verbatism that expresses more than one thought. So, it is like clustering of data. These cards are then arranged into bunches that appear to be changed depiction of an all the more extensive communication quality. Then use this it is conceivable that a couple of verbatism may in reality express this more relevant things. So, analyzing the voice of the customer, these verbatisms has to be ranked. Suppose you say 8, we had 8 classifications. Now, this 8 classifications has to be classified, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and start using it. Then passive way, count the number of times the equivalent attribute is mentioned, then those that are mentioned the most often are assumed to be very important. Suppose you had 100 people interviewing and 100 people said red color is 60 people. So, then you take, okay, so the red color will be people's choice in this particular time. Okay. Active way, that those attributes that can be ranked the most important in the manner just described, and ask another group of interviewer to rank their importance. Each ranking is assigned a number either 1 to 10 or from 1 to 5. Higher the value, most it is important. So, what you do is ask another group you have evaluated, then throw the cards to somebody else, call your neighbor, ask him to rank it. So, then you see your ranking and his ranking, how does it match. So, now what has happened, it has become active, second person, third person gives the view. Passive is whatever they have given, from there you try to take a view. A tool which is used to convert the voice of a customer into an engineering specification is called quality function deployment. A tool which is used to convert voice to engineering specification. Very important. I say that tissue cloth has to be soft. My softness and my wife's softness are different. My softness and your softness are different. Softness is a qualitative one. You have to convert it into quantity. Many of the customer voice, let the food be cooked as quickly as possible. What is your quickly? Is it 1 minute, 10 minutes, 25 minutes? Looking at the age, we decide, okay, when do you cook? Just before going to the office. So, before going to the office, how much time you liberally have for cooking? Maybe half an hour. Then you try to list down what are all the cooking has to happen, cutting of this, cutting of that, preparatory. So, cooking can have maximum 15 minutes. So, in this 15 minutes, if you have a microwave which can cook within 2 minutes, then that is it. So, what have you done? You have understood the voice of the customer, you have just converted this into some other indirect way and then found out a engineering specification. Then you said, okay, time within 2 minutes it should do. So, then what are all the techniques available for the 2 minutes? So, microwave stands outstanding, pick up that fellow and there ends the matter. Understood? Quality getting converted into engineering specification. The tool used is quality function deployment. It is a formalized strategy for coordinating the communicating needs of the customer to the attributes and the functions of the item is quality function deployment. It is an intense technique that makes a difference to characterize the item as far as the customer prerequisites are. So, you have understood all the customer need and you try to make a engineering spec, right. And when you try to do this engineering spec, then you also have to understand what is that you have to develop, so that you develop ahead of market. Suppose you identified customer need and you identified engineering spec, and you are trying to make a similar product which is already there in the market, then your product sales will not be so great. But if you can bring the wow point here, make your product more stringent and make it more performing, then you have to first understand what is that you do such that you have that wow factor integrated into your product. And then once you know this, then making a product or process is going to be easy. Okay. So, that is what is told. Quality function deployment records the relative significance to the customer of the customer requirement, converting the perceived needs of the customer to yield a competitive advantage. QFD utilizes designing attributes to portray each of the item's useful necessity. For example, there are 8 or 5 requirements you have said, maybe X, Y, Z, A and B. These are the 5 requirements you as a customer have said. Now, you are supposed to do a ranking of this fellow and say, this is the first priority I need, this will be the second priority I need, this will be the third priority, this will be the fourth priority and this will be the fifth priority I need. So, what was there? You asked the customer to put all your requirements, then you have ranked the requirements. That is what we are trying to say. So, in this ranking now you see, I have to attack this, I have to attack this. Maybe these 3 things are insignificant, or it is only more focused towards my wow factor. So, first let me attack this 1 and 2 such that I make the basic requirement fulfillment and then start looking at it. So, that is what we rank them. Okay. Quality function utility describes attributes to portray each of the items useful necessity. The building quality are connected to the customer's prerequisites. The item's engineering characteristics are additional benchmarked to distinguish those qualities that must be coordinated or surpassed. It is stressed that the engineering characteristics are the characteristics of the functional requirement, because here are customer's requirement. Customer need has to be converted to functional requirements of the product, right. So, that is what we talk about. So, engineering characteristics are the characteristics of the functional requirement and not the customer requirement. So, there is a house of quality which is established, which the house of quality is a tool which is used in quality function deployment. It is a multi-dimensional technique that demonstrates the relationship of customers' necessities to the designing qualities of the item. It epitomizes the different part of the customer necessities from the items and their sentiments to the contenter's item. So, that means to say it checks with the state of the art, SOTA, state of the art which is available. So, there is a pen which can write up to 5 kilometers with the cost 5 rupees, color attractive, and then repeatable, reliable. These are all there already in a pen. Suppose you want to make a pen, new pen, you want to come into the market. So, then it has to be 7 kilometers, this has to be 4 rupees. The color has to be something different. Repeatability and reliability have to be high when the performance of the product is there. Okay. So, this, how do you know that? You wanted to enter into pen market, you have got the pens requirement from the customer. There is already a product which is available in the market. You understand what is the product and how does the product perform, and then now based on that product you try to fix your stringent requirements such that you can try to bring out a new product. So, that is what it is said. It epitomizes the different parts of the customer necessities for the item and their sentiments to sentiments of the contenders item. It translates and periodic and provides judgment of the relationship of every engineering characteristics to every customer requirement. So, this is how a quality of a house of quality looks like. So, you write down all the customer requirements. So, that is what is called as wants of the customer. Then what do you do is you rate the importance among the customer requirements, okay, and then what do you do is you try to write down how are these customer wants, how are they made. For example, I want a pen less than 5 rupees. So, naturally what you have to do is you have to look at the material property. I want a pen to be more reliable or repeatable, then look at the viscosity of the pen and the quality of the ink, whatever it is. So, what are the customer wants and how are they going to be done? And here what did you do? You tried to put all the customer requirements and ranked them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what did you do? You tried to establish a relationship between the what and the how. How did you do it? You can try to, so you will have something like a matrix like this, and then assuming that there are 5. So, now what is happening for this requirement? What are the importance in this how to make? You start giving them a number, that means to say highest what is required from the customer and how are you going to, if this relationship is high, you try to give 9 marks. There might be a state where there is no relationship, so you give them 0 marks. If it is okay, you give them 5 marks. If it is 3 marks. So, what have you done? You have converted what's and how's relationship in terms of numbers. Why? Because then these numbers will become easy for you to do that. And in the same way what you do, you are also trying to write down who are all your customers, for example A, B, C, D, customers or products, sorry, who are all the other companies who are making similar products and how are they ranked or rated by people based upon the customer wants. Again what you do is you give them numbers. Okay. So, what happens to this? With this you are able to now set, okay, you are able to set what is the target value you have to set, such that you are able to bring out a new product with wow effect and reach out to products. Here what is there is you will have, so between these how, whatever ways you are going to establish, what is their relationship amongst themselves. So, you are trying to rank them. Okay. So, you are trying to rank them. For example, this with relationship to this, how serious is it? For example, this is one way of parameter, this is one way of parameter. How influential is these two? So, again you give them numbers so that you try to see the relationship between hows and you have wants, you have the competitors. So, from there you are now able to do a target. So, this is one level. This, what happens is this can lead to the second level of this. For example, you can have a system specification, then you can have subsystem specification, then you can have part specification, then you can have process specification. So, that means to say from level 1 QFD, that is QFD 1. So, then you can have QFD 2, you can have QFD 3 and QFD 4. That means to say you try to take the target and start working on the next QFD, again you put that as customer wants and do it. Then from this you go to this, from here you go to this. Okay. So, we will try to stop here and we will try to continue by looking at an example how this completely works. So, in this lecture what we went through was what is customer voice, how do you understand what is Kano's model, and then we have seen some basics of quality function deployment. Thank you.